All right, we are recording. Welcome everybody tonight. Dave, I'm just gonna have you blow through that roll call again so that we can get it online for everybody to see.
Yeah, certainly.
Thank you.
Board members present are Dave Burton, Lori Dorak, Jeff Flynn, Dave Giroux, Nancy Cavanaugh, Greg Montanari, Chris Papalizio, Julia Scavi, and Brian Smith. And Lisa Hober's here from Treasurer. And is Lynn on? Not yet.
She's not on yet.
Okay. And then from the public, I got Dave Edgington, Patty, last name.
Fazio, F-A-Z-I-O.
Okay. And anybody else from the public?
John Gilmore,
John Gilmore. Okay.
G-I-L-M-O-R-E.
Got it.
Oh no. I think Lynn thinks it's tomorrow. She can't find the link.
If you're on your cell phone, you have to go over to the desktop if you're on mobile, because it won't show on mobile.
It's probably easier just to call her. I think she's dialed in before.
While we're waiting, anyone using the lake,
Okay.
like skating or ice fishing?
She got it. She should be here in a minute.
There was a lot of ice fishing over the weekend, Brian.
I figured
they
I
were
saw them
skating.
last time. I was, yeah.
They
You
were
don't
skating before the snow.
And ATV or something like that. I'm not sure what the proper name of the vehicle is, but
Oh,
they're
yeah.
out there in the snow.
Not
Okay,
snow.
Lynn has joined.
Nice.
I saw that. I
Did
got
you
it.
see it?
Yep.
All right, gang. Thank you. Okay. So we do have public here. I'm just going to quickly run through the guidelines. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. Please begin by stating your name and address, and all comments are addressed to the chair, not individual board meeting members. And just for awareness, the board does not engage in dialogue during public comment. However, we do take everything that's said and discuss any comments, concerns, or whatever you're bringing to us at a later time. So with that said, is there any public comment? Just make sure you're unmuted because I can't see everybody. So if you would like to speak. Okay. Move forward. Member correspondence. I really didn't have anything, it's unfortunate. I do see some things on Facebook that would have been better corresponded, via email to me. But so I will say, people are asking about, who we pay to plow, and we don't. It's the roads are owned by the town, and I think a lot of people still don't or aren't aware of that. I wanted to mention that in case anybody watches this and is wondering. They are not happy with the plowing this year. Okay, so I'm going to go into officers report. Sorry, I'm kind of in a funky position here, so I keep turning my head. So I'm going to talk about, I sent an email about a month ago regarding discussing anything that we may have that's happening here on the board that's of legal ramifications or any kind of legal correspondence. We don't discuss those in open forum if it's something that's still open. So if it's something that we're still engaged in, please don't bring it up in an open board meeting. If we need to discuss it and something you want to discuss, we do it in executive session if it's something that's still open. And secondly, when you are addressing people, make sure the people in your addressee list is who you really want it to go to. We've had a couple of mishaps. So please just be a little bit more conscious about, think about what you're going to say if you're going to talk about something legal. Preferably not in an open forum. Okay. The PULA A2 surveys, I mentioned those in the last meeting, and I'm working with US Imaging. They're actually out of Michigan, and they do all the imaging for local towns and so forth. I have worked up, so far I've found 13 A2 surveys that we have. And they were everywhere. And thanks to Lynn and, going through the old stuff and passing it on to me. And there were some in the properties books. They were everywhere. So anyway, right now there's about 13 A2 surveys. I might find one or two more, but I did get a price of $650. He's going to microfiche, index them, and then they will be able to, the town will accept them in that format. They won't accept them as a paper draft. If I find any additionals, it'll be an additional $6. I already received the tube, if you will. The tube is GPS tracked, so there's really not a large chance of them getting lost. And they do this all the time. They do it for the towns. So I feel pretty confident and comfortable. So that will be happening. And I think that's a big plus for us because, we pay a lot for these surveys, and to have them just everywhere, be nice to have them indexed. I also wanted to mention the can donation, and I just want, it's a quickie. So Jess took over for Mary Papalizio, and she collected, as of December 31st, 2025, her total was $331.40. And adding it to Mary's total of $1,300.40, we have $1,631.80 received from can donations for the playground. I call it the Can Fund. So I thought that was an interesting tidbit, and I will put an email blast out. Thank you, Julia. Next, Dave Burton is going to talk to us about, he's going to talk to us about legal talk and the agenda, parliamentary, making motions, so forth. So he'll talk about that under the secretary's report. But I want to say, lastly, but certainly not least, a special thank you to Dave Giroux, who has been amazing with this dam. The dam. He has worked tireless hours, I know that. I see all the documents and so forth, and John as well. John has, um, you see that, Dave? Do you see Justin George there? So thank you, Dave. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can't say thank you enough. We're so lucky to have you. Okay, so with that said, I will pass it on to Dave Burton.
Thank you, Lori. All right, so I went back and forth with Lori on the agenda item, and that led, or the agenda items, and that led to a larger discussion on what the FOI rules were surrounding public meetings. Having been to 4 commission hearings over the last 2 years, it's not a pleasant experience. I can tell you where the office is though, so and I do have my own parking spot out of the state building. So when you have an agenda, each item that you're going to talk about has to have what they called, and this is the way it's written, enough appreciable information present so that the public is informed. Now, what does that mean? So that means that if it's a report, that's what it is. It's a report. If it's an information piece, it's an information piece. If it's a vote or an action piece, then that's what it is, right? But you can't mix them. You can't take an information or a report and have an action after that. So in discussion, if it's an information piece, let's say on the waste management, and we're learning what the status is as far as a search for services, we can't then just say, well, I think that we should just go ahead and do 3 years with the next person, because that's an action piece. We're not there yet. And we didn't put it on the agenda, which means that the public is not informed enough to sign on to have public comment on a potential vote or action. And that's where you get in trouble. So what I talked to Lori about is we have to be careful in discussion, right? And the other thing is we have to make sure that each agenda item has enough information so that when you publish it for public commentary, that the public knows what you're talking about. Here's the other thing too. You can't just put general discussion. So let's say we have a discussion item on the lake and that's the way it goes in. That's not enough. What about the lake are we talking about? And that's the piece that needs to be added to the agenda item. So in this case, we're voting on signage tonight. There's going to be a presentation on signage. Then going to be a vote follow-up. That's fine because it listed out on the agenda. But to miss it would end up by having potentially they could file an FOI complaint, and then we'd have to go to the state to discuss why that information was lacking. So in conversation, I would just caution the board members to remember the piece that they're talking about and not to go outside of those parameters. So if we're talking about signage tonight, then we shouldn't be talking about geese. If it's not on the report, we shouldn't be talking about bubblers. We shouldn't be talking about algae. We shouldn't be talking about anything else other than the signage, because that's what the public expects. That's what the feedback is. That's what the presentation is. That's what the vote is on. So that's the only thing I wanted to add. The other thing too is by narrowing the scope on this, it focuses it, and it also reduces the time. Right, because it doesn't become a free-for-all or a general discussion. Now it's very specific, and we know what we're doing. We're either going to receive information and/or we're going to vote on something, and those are the actions that we as board members are responsible for. That's it, Lori. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Julia.
Is someone to keep us on track? If someone starts to wander, do we like the president will? Okay.
So the
Thank you.
mediator, so that's parliamentary, right? So that's what they call a point of order. So actually any commission or any board members can call out a point of order. The president then would, or the mediator, but the president in this case would recognize that. And then you could say, point of order, this is the reason why I'm putting this out. Hey, we're getting off topic. We should be talking about this. And then we get back onto topic.
Any other questions for Dave?
David, I have a quick question.
Go ahead, Jeff.
So what was I going to say? The new business. when we reach that point, does that then open it up to a broader range?
Not unless it's an agenda. So here's the other thing too, is individuals need to submit agenda items. So if, from now on, if I'm going to take these, right, because in this case, Lori did the agenda a week. Now, the way we do it in the city is you have to give me the agenda items a week ahead of time so I can go ahead and put it on the agenda list. But it should be submitted to the board or the board member who is responsible for the agenda, as opposed to 3 days ahead of time, we just make up the agenda because this is what I know we want to talk about. It doesn't work like that.
So Dave, I have been asking for that for a very long time.
Right.
For a while, when Lisa was secretary, we tried to set up a canned letter that would go out to each committee chair and each board member and ask, please, if you have something to report, it needs to be at least a week prior to the board meeting so we can put it on the agenda. So it's been a little tough to get that in place, but so pretty much that's why we came up with these. Well, I kind of flopped it around, as you can see, because I mean all those asterisks were like, what? So if you don't have an asterisk next to your committee or your name, the only reason why they're on here is so because I was doing it with Julia and I didn't want to forget anything. But we can narrow however you want to work on this agenda, I'm open to it.
Yeah, I would ask that we go back to the week ahead of time. Here's the other thing too about reports. It's okay to submit a written report because that can go into the record, right? So as a commissioner or committee, you don't have to do a face-to-face. You
Right.
can submit a written report and that fulfills the obligation you have as, as one of the committee members.
Right. And we have had that. We've had that where I would read the report from whomever it was. But it is important that everybody get the information to Dave or myself a week prior to the board, at least a week prior, because I try to get the agenda out a week prior. It's not mandated. Actually, it's mandated that we get it out 24 hours in advance. We try to do that a week in advance.
Right. And then as a safeguard, right, if you send me something that's too general, then I can turn around and say, okay, what specifically are we talking about? Right. Or I would like to discuss this. Okay, is this an action item or is it a non-action item? Right. I just need to know or understand for the end result. What do you expect out of the council or the committees?
Perfect. Any questions? Excellent. Okay. Thank you so much, Dave. That was great. Okay, Lynn, I know you're in there somewhere, but I don't see you. Can you give us your tax collector report?
Yes, currently we have 4 accounts that are outstanding. Our total owed is $2,316.20 in tax. And then when you tack on interest and fees that have been accumulating on these 4 outstanding accounts, it's $2,577.75. 2 of those accounts have now been placed in formal collection. One of them, the house, is pending sale. It's supposed to close on the 22nd of this month. And I've been in frequent conversation with the attorney. Does look like the closing will go through. So putting that into collection didn't make sense. And the 4th is a longtime resident here at the lake. And this person has been making payments and working with us. And we feel assured that we'll have that concluded shortly.
Thank you, Lynn. Any questions for Lynn?
Oh, Brian, Lynn, I'll ask one just because you mentioned a sale. So why not? Because at the closing, you'll get paid? The POLA? will
Correct.
get- Right. Okay. Just checking.
Yes, it's
Attorneys
we have
will.
our lien letter in with them. The attorneys know, and it's part of their sale is that the first monies go to paying off their taxes.
Right. Okay. I've done enough real estate. Yeah. Thanks. I figured.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thanks, Lynn. Appreciate it. Lisa Hober, are you here? Because I don't see you either. Treasurer's report?
I am.
There she is. Okay.
Reports have been put on the drive. if there are any members that want to have the reports sent to them personally, they can email me. 1099 should go out this week. And that's it. That's all I got.
Does anybody have questions for Lisa regarding finances or treasury? Excellent. Okay, we're moving along. Asset management. So Dave and I had a little email exchange with Dave G and I had a little email exchange with Chris of AWC. So I'll let Dave take that away.
Yeah, during the last, can you guys hear me? So during the last board meeting, we discussed extending the contract with AWC. Reached out to AWC and asked if they would be interested in extending it, the existing contract through March of 2027. They said that they would. They said that they would look for a 3% increase over the current numbers to accomplish that between the time when the current contract is set to expire, which is September and March of next year. And based on that information, we thought it would be appropriate for the board to take a vote as to whether or not we wanted to extend the contract.
Okay, point of order on that. So there is no vote listed on the agenda item for extending the contract, so we could not do that this time.
Okay.
All right. Alternatively, Dave, we could approve via email. As you've now stated that we're here to take a vote. So it's a little learning curve, but we could do it via email and we get the majority to approve.
He's a stickler.
Yeah.
Or if it's, well, here's a workaround. If it's
All right.
in the financial or procurement process, then you can do it that way. If language allows it for purchasing.
Say the first part again, Dave. I didn't hear
So
that.
your purchasing language, if it allows the president or one of the officers to spend money on a contract for a certain amount, then you could do that. You don't need board approval on that if it meets the purchasing agreement.
I'd have to look at the threshold.
I mean, I think the amount that it would be monthly would be fine, but I don't think the accumulated amount would be appropriate for this circumstance under our financial policy. Between now and March or June and March, whatever it is. I think.
We can schedule it for a vote for next month. I'm sure that's fine.
Okay. All right. So you all know it's a 3%.
Or we could just do over email, right? Can we just do it over email and get it done? That way.
No, that's called a walking quorum. You can't do it that way.
Okay.
Because again, you're looking to spend money, right? So the public has a right for comment, and because we don't have an agenda item, you can't just go ahead and make that
Right.
expense.
It is over the amount that our financial policy.
Yep, I
allows.
got it. I just missed that part. Thanks.
Lisa, what do you got?
It's a bill and you're not spending more money per month. You're just extending a contract. So if you need an officer to say, do I have permission to continue to pay the bill as is, we have been the $6,027 between now through March. Isn't that neat?
But we're not. It's a 3% increase.
It went up?
It's yes. So we'll
mind.
vote next month and it'll be fine. Okay. Everybody good with that? So everybody
Any
understands 3%.
Anyone have any questions about this?
Dave, what did they give you a deadline for that?
No.
Or did they just say no? Okay.
What? Go ahead, Brian.
When would that 3% increase be effective, Dave?
At the end of the existing contract. So which is when it's supposed to expire September 1st of this year.
Oh, so, yeah, plenty of time. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? So he's willing to carry the 3% increase until it expires in September. I'm sorry, from September through March.
Right.
And then his contract going forward will be from March to March instead of September to September, where it really messes us up if we want to due diligence and seek out other bids. Does it make sense? Okay. Everybody good? Excellent. All right. So we're gonna go into lake quality, and we're gonna have Lynn Chrissy present us, and I did email it to everybody. I think it's wonderful. I think it helps a lot with the garden committee that we're going to institute, and I know I haven't officially done that yet, but this is a wonderful kickoff. And again, Lynn and I going through all of the old documents and so forth, have found some interesting data, and I don't think we talked about it, but Lynn will present to you, and you'll learn a little bit.
So if you do have your presentation on PowerPoint, and again, if this is something that we want to make available to the public as well at some point, of course, but I want to thank you. I'm presenting it's a proposed donation to support the rain garden that's already present at Second Beach. In terms of a little background, as Lori had mentioned, in 2013, our East Haddam Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Commission approved a grant to install this rain garden. It's a lake edge vegetative barrier and a water quality biofilter. Now, there was a condition there that every 2 years we were to be sending in photographs. I don't think we've done that in the reasonable during this reasonable like 5-year time frame. We can talk a little bit about that, but Lori also mentioned the original application. I have copies of that as well, and copies of both the application and the grant from 2013, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. If you go over to the third slide, the 2013 project overview, just to let you know, the buffer was recognized as addressing conditions that existed at Second Beach. Things like bank erosion, goose access, and overland runoff from Lakeshore Drive and that small parking area into the lake. And what was recognized is that this type of rain garden, it provides deeper roots than simply putting grass in that area. That holds the banks. It also purposely incorporated shrubs, taller grasses, and perennials, things over 2 feet, because they wanted to make the area less hospitable to geese. And the plantings were specifically chosen because they felt that with that root structure in place, that would help intercept any overland flow. And it was going to create some filtering of things that were running off the roads and again into the lake. It was specifically requested that this be professionally designed and installed, and it was. That was done in conjunction with Balix. And to this day, Balix has been anxious and happy to come out and talk to us about that barrier garden anytime we've asked. So as you slip over to that fourth slide, it has been 13 years since 2013. And things have changed. Most of the people that live directly around Second Beach are not the same people who lived there in 2013. And like everything else, people forget. So to them, a lot of people, they see that barrier, and what they're seeing is weeds. They just don't understand the purpose or the money that was invested in creating this. So as you go to the fifth slide, this is the project proposal for 2026. Is to install 2 permanent signs, and this is toward the idea of both education and opportunity for our families and their guests. I mean, with the approval of the playground, we now have I think, unique opportunity to provide another activity for families and guests, and something that's going to be fun, but it's also going to help sort of recruit them into the whole idea of lake quality and understanding what it is that they're looking at. And so I've got 2 signs that will be donated. Now these signs, they're identical to the one that you see on that 5th slide. That post with the 45-degree angle, large sign, 18 by 24. These are professional signs. They're provided by a company called Vacker Sign International. It's a US-based company. And they've been supplying signs for parks, trails, and other areas since 1999. They are a preferred provider for the National Parks Association. So these signs are good signs. That first one that I'm going to talk about is one that I would suggest you think about if you're looking at the lake and there is a boat launch there, that you think of positioning this to the left of the boat launch, but to the right of those two benches that are there. You want it toward the lake, but to the parking lot side of the barrier garden. So it's going to be, pretty close to that playground, and that would be by design. And I've given you my proposed sign, which would be the shoreline habitat sign. You are looking at, this would be the wording and the presentation. This is something that has been designed by Vacker and has been used to explain shoreline habitats. It talks about the diverse community that you see. It talks, there's a picture of a kayaker there, how healthy shorelines contribute to clean water and recreational use. And it invites people in with a question, what do you see living on the shoreline? And if you place something like this, my thought would be close to where I'm talking about the playground. And as you know, there's a dock that the Friends of Ricky LaFlamme have donated and that they put in every year. It's got a bench. It gives people an opportunity to sort of look at the sign, think about all the different things that they're seeing, maybe go out on the dock, because a lot of kids like going out on that dock, either fishing or looking around, and they see all the things that are in the lake, the frogs and the turtles and the little minnows that are sitting in among the roots. And it helps them sort of connect what they're seeing to healthy habitat. So it's teaching, but kind of in a fun way. The second sign would be butterfly identification. And my thought would be that you'd want to position that probably a little, further to the left, maybe on the other side of the flagpole. The thing that I liked about this particular sign is that it talks about, 600 different kinds of butterflies, but the ones you see on this sign are all ones you find in that garden. These are all butterflies that are native to our area and that you will see through the course of the year feeding off the various plants that are sitting in the rain garden. So again, something fun, and it connects people between what they're seeing, that these are not necessarily weeds, that they have a use, and it's something fun for people to do. Let's go find the butterflies. I talked a little bit more about Vacker sign on slide 10. And if you do want to see sort of a similar installation, if you go to the Rotary on Route 85 in Salem, the one that's down there near the pizza place and all of that, you will see they've got a garden, and they have either 3 or 4 of these signs that are there. Actually, the signs that I'm proposing are a little better quality than the ones. The signs that I've got as part of this proposal, they are 18 by 24 display. It uses their trademark tough materials. It's a premium graphic film with an industrial grade protective overlay. And they put it on a poly metal. And then they have a frame sleeve that's angled that presents the signs at a 45-degree angle that would also be provided. So the ask, if the board approves the donation, I would require that the board or a designee of the board that you mark final positions. We would need to provide 4x4 posts. The sleeves would fit onto those posts, and then facilitating the installation. And then as a follow-up, if it is approved, and this is would be a second step, is can we put a place on the website? We can post the materials for the original grant, maybe a little information about the signs. But I would also be willing to put together sort of a downloadable scavenger hunt that would allow kids to identify the plants. It's something that parents or others can just download, and using clues, figure out what the plants are in the garden. Again, I think that that would be something that would be a fun, a sort of fun activity for people, and it wouldn't be difficult to do. So thank you and appreciate your consideration.
Does anybody have questions for Lynn? I know I forwarded you the presentation a little bit late, but I think you get the idea if you haven't seen it. Do you have any questions for Lynn?
So Lynn, do we know what the life expectancy is on these signs? And I'm just thinking about replacement.
They're saying about 25 years.
Oh, well, we don't have to worry about it then.
Good question, Dave. I personally think it's fabulous. I think considering, we've had a lot of time that's gone by and a lot of passion that's been put into this rain garden. And I think that a lot of the community, like Lynn has mentioned, isn't aware of the intention of the placement and selection of plantings that are there. And I think this is I think it's a little bit of a beautification and also a learning tool. So I think it's a fabulous idea. And so the ask would be, yes, do we want to do it? Can we mark the final positions, provide the 4x4 posts, and facilitate the installation? And I personally think we can do that. But if anybody else has any questions on any of that, please feel free, and then hopefully we make a motion.
I make a motion that we put the signs up just like Lynn described. And I'd be happy to help with installing the 4x4 posts.
I think Brian's got a question.
Do we have a second on that motion first?
Oh, yeah.
And then we'll debate.
Yeah, I'll second for discussion.
Thank you. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, Dave, we were just there putting signs in this fall. Is there any signage there? I know these are nice park related for nature, but how about please don't mow these grasses? Do we have signs like that, or just stay
No,
away, don't touch? I'm
No,
just
to
curious if
Lynn's
we can be a little
point-
more direct.
And to Lynn's point, this grant that we read saying that you had to take pictures every 2 years and send them in.
Yeah,
I never saw any evidence of it in anything we looked through. Did you see any evidence, Lynn, that there were pictures ever sent? Ever? I didn't either.
No, that doesn't mean that they weren't, but.
Right. But there's no evidence. There's no email. There's nothing we've ever seen that, helped us comply. And so we'd like to do that.
Yeah, because when I think about, things like don't mow or, I almost feel like that's something that would go to the garden committee as opposed to.
We're intentionally keeping these in this manner, a little more soft around the edges, just nature. Okay, that's the intent. Not a do not touch type thing.
And to what Lynn's saying, once the garden committee is established, which I mean, in the middle of winter, it's kind of hard, but once the garden committee's established, that would be, an initiative of theirs to, bring forth to the board or what have you. Any other debate on this motion? Okay, so the motion is, Chris would like to facilitate the ask for marking the final positions, providing the 4x4s, and helping with the installation of these donated signs. All in favor?
Aye.
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 And
Aye.
Thanks, Lynn.
Aye.
All right, I'm missing one person. Oh, there you are. Okay. So anybody opposed? It was a unanimous decision, but just in case there was somebody I didn't see, there's 7 people in one bubble that I can't see. So motion passes. Thank you, Lynn. I think that's
Thank
fabulous.
you. I'll go ahead and order the signs, and when they come in, I'll contact and let you know.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
Okay. Where'd he go? All right, Dave, we're going to move on to public safety. And we're going to talk about, we're going to discuss hang tags and parking with the mindset that at the next board meeting, we're going to take a vote on a decision on how we want to move forward with parking tags and whatever we come up with. So Dave Burton, wherever you are, because now you disappeared again.
I'm here.
Okay. So I'll let you take that away.
So, yeah, Lori got a suggestion, and I looked at it regarding potential tags with QR codes that can be read. It does present some logistical issues in the fact that you have to have software where a QR reader and or your cell phone, because you can't make it a QR, but it's got to have some place to go, right? So that it can find that information. So additional expense as far as that is concerned, that was the only thing that I was looking at as far as issues for that suggestion. And then the other part of that was what, if we do a set of rules for parking for residents, and then another set of rules for, well, same set of rules, but a supplemental piece for visitors, what does, or should there be any difference in expense between a resident parking permit and a visitor parking permit? There was a suggestion that the visitor parking permit be substantially more, somewhere around $200 to $400 as a deposit, and therefore would forego the issues regarding a collection of potential fines, right? Because what do you do with violators as far as your parking ordinance is concerned, or parking rules and regulations are concerned? How do we collect that, et cetera? So in order to, so I do like that suggestion as far as bypassing the potential fine because you are investing. I just think that that might be a steep amount to ask a resident to come up with as far as visitor parking fees are concerned. The old fallback is we just go to either a numbered or a colored system. It's the cheapest option. We use it in the city. Right now, we're paying about $5 a tag for a color, just a simple color, and then we can change that out every year. So, I'm interested to hear comments as far as thoughts are concerned regarding the expense, and then which way do you want to go as far as technology, and then what are you looking at as far as enforcement is concerned? I know that a future discussion, again, not on here, so we can't talk about it, but a future discussion might include security. How does security factor into that type of activity? So I'll leave it open.
I just want to elaborate a little bit on the QR code. It would be an app on your phone. And I got to say it, Dave, if it was a security company, of course, they would have the app on their phone. And then perhaps our public safety person would also have it. Committee, I mean, I don't know. We would figure that out. But the QR code, I just wanted to elaborate. What it does is it actually, once you click on it, it tells you who the person is, their address, and whether their tag is activated or deactivated. If they violate parking conditions, we can right then and there deactivate their parking tag. And then it goes back to database. So yes, it does incur a little cost. I can't remember exactly what it was. but I thought it was kind of unique and interesting. And then I also want to comment, Dave, you didn't mention how much the, on the other course of the deposit on the guest tags, the suggestion was $200 or $400 per guest tag for deposit. I do think it's steep for the community, but it would ensure that, so those were my both, I just wanted to add a couple little pieces to that. Dave Giroux has his hand up.
Yeah, so I have a question. You know, I'm wondering if we can quantify how much of an impact we're really looking at as far as visitors or incidents, you know, because down at Third Beach, we see nothing. You know, there's no parking problems. There are people that probably park at the fire station and walk in from there, but I don't know that. I see, because I see people walking down the street. So, you know, on that end of the lake, there's very little. Okay. So I'm wondering if we can quantify really what we're seeing.
I think, Dave, Second Beach doesn't have a lot of focus and a lot of eyes on it. But I do think the people that do go to the beach a lot, Second Beach a lot, do see parking issues, a lot of non-parking tags. I think the biggest draw is First Beach. And, you know, that's where all the amenities are, the pavilion is, and we see a lot of violations there. So it's been an issue. I read back some of these things that Lynn and I are going through years and years and years, and this has been a topic of discussion. So it is a problem.
Hey, Lori, I
Yeah.
have my hand
Yes,
up.
I
I
see
don't know
your
if you
hand.
can see it.
Yep, I
Um,
can see it. I just didn't see
my-
you.
oh, that's okay. From my experience, I think the biggest thing is enforcing it. You know, the barcode sounds good, and if people have it on their car, and then you could see if it's active. But if it's absent, it's very difficult to understand who belongs to that car. So
Good
that's what we normally see at First Beach, and at Second Beach there was a complaint about a certain group of folks going at Second Beach, and I went down there a couple times last year, and they were not from the lake. And it's the same group of folks both times when I went down there was brought to my attention. The concern that I have, I was with some other folks, some past board members at First Beach, where there was people going there to walk their dog or going for a short visit, didn't bring their tag, and it quickly got ugly. Even though the absolute nicest person on the board that you could possibly imagine was asking for where they left their parking pass at home, what house do you live, where are you from the lake? Absolute nicest person in the world. Instantly, it got ugly. So my concern is we're not all police officers, federal officers, understanding, okay, we just had 5 cars pull up. They're all playing pickleball. None of them have their parking passes, regardless if it's color, this, that, or the other thing. I think it really comes down to how we enforce that, whether we provide a warning or just confronting, just going up there and saying, hey, did you happen to have your parking pass in your car and someone has a bad day and just goes off on you, and next thing you know, you're in a very uncomfortable situation. I've seen it with my own eyes on multiple occasions at First Beach, and that's my concern. So whether we want to talk about security tonight, since it's not on agenda, we can't. But I think for next month, we should put it on the agenda, because I think it goes hand in hand with this conversation, because what Dave is talking about is great. Okay, so you have a barcode. What happens? I don't see that being the problem. It's a
Right.
nice city, and you understand that it belongs to this house. They're in good standings. Well, that's great. Those people aren't giving us problems. The things that we have problems with, and the future problems, probably not for this year, but maybe 2027, are, the folks that aren't from the lake coming to use our lake properties, the beaches. Over.
Dave? B?
Yeah, I would say that the security tag conversation is the first step, right? Because, well, actually, the first step was to put in the permit signs as far as being able to tow the vehicles without those permit tags. So I think the objective or the thought is that at some point we come up with some kind of permit tag. Otherwise, we just wasted a whole bunch of money on parking signs, number one. And then number two is, there is a future discussion on security, but in order for security to have something to look at, we have to decide what that something is, right? Otherwise, they can't take any action on that.
And I just want us to mention this for our discussion that clearly we're going to put on the agenda for next month, that in the 26-27 budget, which starts next fiscal, there was a substantial amount of money allocated towards security. So keep that in mind when we talk about it next month. Craig, you have your hand up.
So just for clarification, what's the difference between the tags we have now and having new tags? Is it just that QR code? So is that the debate? Do we have a QR code, or we just redo tags like with numbers and colors like we have now? I guess I just need clarification.
Well, the QR code is actually a sticker. So it would be a sticker that they would have to have on their windshield. And then the tags would be something they'd hang. And would we want to do it as, right, Dave? Would we want to do it as, you put a deposit down for how many guest tags you want, and each household gets 2 permanent tags or 2 QR codes and guest tags? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, right? So the QR code doesn't have to be the be all end all. We could go with the barcode reader. If we didn't go with technology, then we go back to it. We back up. Technology makes it easier, right? Because I can do it on my phone. If I'm dealing with a security company, the security company can do it on their phone. They're not going through a paper list. It gives them instantaneous access. They don't miss a name. They don't miss a car. They don't miss a registration tag, etc. So checks and balances as far as that, it is easier. As far as expense is concerned, the least expensive option would be to go with the color paper hanging tags that we currently have. Again, though, that's a hard record, right? So if we are going to go with a security company, then we have to provide that hard record on, a regular basis for them so that they can check the residents and or visitors, guests, etc., to match it up with addresses that are within our area.
Right. And I want to say Carolyn Kress currently maintains that record, and it's tedious. It's very tedious. You have people moving, people coming, people going, people lost their tags. It's tedious. So to be able to enter it in a database and have it available like that. I mean, we have it on the drive now, but has she updated it since we last put it on the drive? Probably. I mean, you heard Lynn talking about home sales. So that was my thought with the QR code. You always know, when they're no longer a resident, we don't ask them for the sticker back. We just deactivate it. It's a more technology, but it's
so
more
couldn't we?
confusing.
So couldn't we just get stickers with the year on it? Like these tags are good for 2026, and it's a sticker that's stuck to the window. That way it can't be transferred from car to car. Kind of like an in between there if nobody wants to pay for the technology, because then now you go back to Dave Burton's point from before, maybe we get a deposit from each resident. Now we're going to go back to the residents and ask for more money. I think that there's going to be a lot of people who would probably look at that negatively. Oh, you need a deposit so that if I break the rules, you keep my money?
So if you just put a 2026 tag in a window, we
No,
still
no,
don't.
no. It's a sticker that's affixed to the inside of the windshield. So I would think stickers are pretty cheap to make. And every year you get a new sticker. You peel the old one off and put a new one on.
But we still don't know who you are, and we still have to maintain a manual database.
Sure, but
And
we
Alternatively, if you
Fair.
don't have a sticker, well, that's criteria for now we can tow because we have the proper signage.
but that
Correct me if I'm wrong, Dave B.
but that's the same whether there's a barcode or not.
Yeah, I mean, we do it in the city the cheap way, right? We maintain a database, has like 400, I think we can go up to 2,000 parking passes. That's how many we've had at one time. But I think we run a database of about 400 right now. But every single year, those residents have to put applications in. And we change the color every single year. It is a sticker. Like I said, that's the $5.50. It might even be $6 at this point, but that's what you're paying per sticker. We could certainly do that. That's the least option as far as technology is concerned. The issue is it's not instantaneous. They do have to go through a data. If we're expecting security to enforce, they would have to go through a paper database or their paper files in order to find the correct information. And by the way, it might not be up to date because somebody moves, somebody sells, etc., and we don't have the newest. What do you do with a new resident that didn't make this year's database, that doesn't have this year's, that didn't know to put the sticker on? So I don't know. It's a little bit additional expense. I just can tell you from ease of reference and or enforcement, the technology is the way to go. Not that, my police officers do it the other way, right? So we do it with a paper way. It's just that we have to know and keep a very active paper database.
And another thing to keep in mind, Craig, is that when somebody moves, they don't always, at closing, they're required to return their 4 passes. 50% of the time they do. Well, those passes that are now floating out there, they might be defunct on Carolyn's list, but we have no idea. If we see an orange tag hanging, they're good.
I get you. I want to respond quickly, and then Julia has 2 hands raised.
And so does Brian. Brian's hand was up first, actually.
Okay, so there's 3 hands, but I just want to respond to that. I guess what I'm saying is I understand all of that from a hang tag standpoint, because a hang tag could be removed and put in any car, any vehicle. But a sticker that's affixed to your windshield is not going to be peeled off and then stuck to somebody else's car. And so from an enforcement standpoint, to Dave Burton's point, yes, it's onerous to enforce it, but what are we really going to enforce? If we know that they have this year's sticker, then we know that they're a resident. So what could they possibly be doing wrong that we would have to enforce? I guess that's kind of a rhetorical
Well, I can tell you about some things. Dave
Okay.
could tell you about some things, but
then on the flip side, I guess we're just going around in circles, but that was my question, is about having a sticker versus having the hang tags versus having and then of course, asking residents for more money. I think that's going to be an uphill battle.
okay. Thanks, Craig. Brian? Everybody's got their hand up.
Maybe so we're not going to vote anything, obviously.
No, this is
maybe
discussion, but we're going to need to vote next month. We got to.
But all these ideas, maybe it does come about budget and money. I don't know. Will we have some price tags with options? Is that a possibility to have?
So
The sticker versus the QR code method?
So Dave and I can look at that and get an email out to everybody before the next meeting.
That would be good. I think that would be helpful. My first thought and comment was more about, this is kudos, like this is getting ahead of the curve. Technology now, get ready, have the database, make it easier. Because it's coming. There's more people moving in nearby. I get it. We got to put the word out. It's more new people. Like when I first moved in, I probably didn't realize much about the use of the hang tag and the purpose, but like put the blast out every year. Hey, make sure you're displaying it. Keep it in your car or something. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Brian. Nancy, they number you, so I can tell. I think that's what it is. Nancy, you're next.
So, currently, at least since I've been here, we received the 4 tags without any additional fee, right? So our budget has to pay for whatever QR code, stickers, hang tags, whatever we buy. I know like getting a beach pass in another community and having a guest, there is a fee to get a guest to attend. And so would we still be going for 4 years at a time is one question. Okay, because like $200 is only $50 a year for a guest pass. And if we're calling it a deposit, then they could potentially get the money back if they turned in the guest pass. So I'm seeing the technology as a real benefit, and having a sticker on a member's vehicle kind of immediately identifies them as a member, and that can be connected. Having the tags maybe for the guests gives information, and then a car down there without a tag, it's very simple to act upon whatever security we decide to do. So I'm seeing the need for us to move forward with technology and accountability. And, wherever I've been, having a sticker on your windshield, it's not a big deal. I mean, it's part of where to park for work, business, a beach pass at another community. So I see it as a positive.
Thank you, Nancy. Do you have anything else? Okay. Dave, Dave G.
So I just wanted to comment that, people trade cars, windshields get broken. This is from an administrative standpoint, this is going to be a significant amount of more work. Because right now, every 4 years, we hand out a pack of tags. And what we're talking about is something that would be yearly, if not more than that, because you change cars or you windshield breaks or whatever.
Dave, I think the database, so nobody sees how much Carolyn does with this whole thing, people losing tags, people moving, people coming. I mean, Carolyn does a lot maintaining this manual database. So to make it electronic, let's say you get a new car. So you call up our person, whoever's maintaining this database, and you say, okay, I need a new car. They're going to automatically know your old QR code, deactivate that one, and give you another one. I think I think once the database is populated, I think it's going to be much smoother. People move, Lynn lets us know. It goes into constant contact now. We have a good process for that. Thank you, Julia, wherever you are. We have a good process for maintaining, the database of the residents. We don't have 100% of the people on there because some people don't want to be associated per se, but if they want vehicle tags, they would have to be. So the database would be constantly maintained, not one that Carolyn would, if she stayed on, would have to create every year. It's a lot of pages, Dave. Did you have anything else you wanted to mention?
No, I mean, so I'm making the assumption that it's 2 vehicles per QR, okay? So now we're at 1,000 rather than 450 or 425, okay? And we're going to annually do this. I just think it's a significant amount of work.
It doesn't have to be annually. I mean, you could keep that QR code for as long as you live here, until you change cars or you move or what have you. We don't have to change them annually. We could pick the time frame for that. If we want to change the color or, we can do that. But I don't think we need to do it annually. It'll have everybody's data on it. So why change it? If you need a new one, you contact the person. You say, my tag's, peeling off or frayed, and they issue you another one.
So next month when we vote, we'll vote on specifics then?
I think Dave and I will get together and kind of hash through a little bit more of the specifics and present it via email before the meeting, and then we can discuss.
Okay.
All right. So Jeff, you have your hand up. Chris has his hand up, and it says, I know Julia had her hand up, but I don't know where she went. Jeff, go ahead. You got a 1 and Chris has got a 2. You're muted.
There it is. Okay.
There you are.
Taking a lot of time on this, so I'll just make a couple of quick points. To Craig, to your idea, we had stickers for 40, 50 years that work perfectly fine. I think the stickers is the way to go. Very simple. If you sell your car gets demolished, you take a razor blade, you take off the old sticker, and you hand it in, and you get a new sticker. I think we're making it overly complicated, but I do think the sticker idea, which we're going back, that worked, is a way perhaps to bridge to the new technology. Let's just, that way, you know, we're trying it, and we can maybe put a QR code on there. But I think the sticker on the vehicle is the way to go. That's just my opinion. And someone else wants to talk, they're more than welcome to talk.
Chris? Thank you, Jeff.
I just wanted to say that Jeff's overcomplicating this whole process with this whole, with what he said. I'm just kidding, Jeff. Hey, I just was thinking about Dave Burton and Dave Drew. And, you know, it finally just clicked on what the technology would do for us, with me anyway, with the advantage of the technology is just what Lori's been saying is if you have a new tenant, if you switch cars and you need a new sticker, that sticker is now dead. So depending on how we do security and how we enforce this, it could be advantageous to us to have the technology over just a sticker with a color code or a year on it. That sticker, you know, depending on how we enforce it, which I think the security is why we need to talk about both the security and how we're going to apply that. I think is important, but certainly that technology would make things much more simple. Like you've been saying, Lori, nothing more than what you've been saying, that that sticker remains constant as long as you're in that house, in that same car, you haven't lost it. It's still applicable. It's still good to go. And again, it all comes down to how we enforce it. But I do understand now, appreciate the conversation that we're having today, you know, this month. So it'll make next month easier. That's all. Thanks.
Thanks, Chris. No, I agree with you. Like, you know, having these things expire every 2 or 4 years, and then having to have the same conversation, and then handing out new ones and all that. I mean, it actually, I mean, there's work up front to populate this database, but I think going forward, it saves a lot. That's just my personal take. Dave and I will get together and we'll hash it out, and we'll offer. He's looking around like me. Does anybody else have any other commentary on, you know, and if you do come up with any other thoughts or ideas, because so now we're talking about, right? We're talking about putting stickers or QR codes and other means, but we're talking about, for the database, we'd have to have the QR code, right? So we're talking about putting that on people's windshields. We haven't talked about, if we do that, what do we do about the guests? So that's, you know, so we have a little bit, but so again, maybe Dave and I come up with some, you know, we do this, we do this, we do this, and perhaps we just vote on those things next month. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I think we're good. I'll get the price for the, I'll get the exact price to the vendor for the hard copy way that we do it now, just so we have the comparison. But if it's an app, I can't see us spending a lot of money on an app anyway. And I'm thinking, as far as the visit is concerned, if you wanted to do a carry, like a lanyard or something like that, the same thing with a QR or a or a digital code on it, they could, we can, it's the same app, so it's the same reader.
That's a great idea. Great idea. Put the sticker right on the tag. Like it. Okay. So any other comments or questions on hang tags? Excellent. Moving forward, we are going to go into our favorite topic over the last 5 years, the dam. So I'll let Dave Giroux head that off because he has a lot of updates for you. And then, we've all been kind of doing our own sections of it. So I'll give you mine after Dave gives you a good briefing on where we're at and what's happening.
Okay. So in December, John Gilmore wrote a synopsis of what our dam activity looked like. We took that and we put that with 10 cover letters to 10 contractors that were recommended either by John or by Carl, our engineer, or through various recommendations. We did a due diligence on those 10 to make sure they all had adequate experience. And we sent that out to those 10 contractors. And we asked for, our ask in sending out this letter was there a level of interest? Out of that, as you're aware, we received five contractors that said they were interested in participating in bidding on that. We've done further due diligence on that. John and I have spoke. There were a number of questions. There were some recommendations by board members as far as the bid proposal, which we received from the engineer on January 8th. We've taken those recommendations from the board members. We've taken some recommendations from John. We've incorporated all that. Our intent now is to take those bid proposal packages, put those with a bid letter, and send that out to the 5 people that expressed interest in late January, asking for proposals in early March. By March 2nd, I believe is the date that we asked for the proposals. At that point, we will have a team that will evaluate the bid proposals and we'll go forward so that there'll be recommendations in March for the March Board of Governors meeting. In the interim, either February 9th or on February 11th, there will be a bidders conference for contractors that are interested at the site at 10 o'clock in the morning so that they can come and meet with the engineer, look at the site, and share information. Any questions on that? Yes, Dave Burton.
Dave, so are we still in partnership with East Haddam on this?
Yes, Lori and Tim Pelton are taking care of that lane, and I'm sure Lori will give you an update on that.
Okay, and are they all right with just sending it to the 5 bidders? And the reason why I ask is because when we go for proposal, we have to post it in a public domain that allows other interested we can send it specifically. We're allowed to do that if it's somebody that we know that's interested, but we also have to publish in a public domain so that anybody that we didn't catch has the opportunity to provide a bid on that.
So they gave us a document, 106 point something, which has a paragraph and allows the process that we're following. So I'm fairly confident we're conforming to it. Have I gone back and said to the people at the town, this is the process we're following? No.
Okay. The only, it's public money, right? Some of this is public money. So somebody could challenge it. I just want to make sure that we're on solid ground as far as.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
It's a good question, Dave. And that's something I can pose to Valerie, Dave G, if if you'd like me to pose that.
Yeah, I
to-
mean, there is a paragraph in the 106 document that specifically calls out the process we're following. And I think, how I would frame it is that we're following the 106 document, paragraph, whatever it is, and just want your confirmation that the town is comfortable.
Satisfied.
Yeah.
All right, will do. So I've been working on a little different end than Dave and John Gilmore. And they've been working on the technical aspects and the bid packages and so forth. So I've been working with Tim. We've met with Todd Gelston, who is our first selectman. And I'm going to use the word unfortunately. He's new, and we had met with Irene a couple of times, but Todd he's great to work with. He's just getting up to speed. So that's the unfortunate part, because we had already met with Irene a few times, but we did mention STEEP to him, and he was very aware of the program, and that small town economic assistance program that Connecticut offers. Our last correspondence, he said to me, Lori, is the dam on town property? So I said, well, half of it is, and I'm giving you the simplistic version here. So I'm waiting for a response from him. But STEEP is a state of Connecticut run program, and they have awarded $1 million projects and the town of East Haddam has had a grant from them before. Our issue is it's only half on town property. So from that perspective, there are a couple other grants that I am looking into that I'm hopeful for. I think that's as far as that part goes. The referendum. So, as you all know, we sent out our letter explaining to everybody that this isn't a can we, should we, this is mandated that we make these repairs, or it's $1,000 a day fine. We lose our insurance, and Deep can come in at twice the cost to make these repairs. So unfortunately, even though we know, the board knows it's mandated, the membership still gets to vote on whether we move forward. They've already voted on, yes, get the permits, do that, do the project. They need to vote on the financial aspect of it now. And if they vote no, they're also implied for the $1,000 a day. I mean, that budget goes out to the community too. So they will have to deal with their neighbors that voted yes, because they would be paying a lot more than what we'd be asking for. So I did create a referendum, and I didn't circulate it to the board yet because I'm working with Adam on the referendum to make Adam the attorney, to make sure that the language and everything in it is appropriate, correct. And he did offer me a couple of recommendations to add or talk about. And he said, well, first he said, it's perfectly appropriate to add more language urging people to vote for option 1 or 2. So I have 2 options on there. And one option is, I don't have the numbers in there yet because we won't have those till March. The referendum will go out before the last day of March. So option 1 will be, do you choose to, do you support this amount of money, based on, the money that we currently have, the funding that we currently have, this is how much it would be per household. And option 2 is, and this would be discussed with the board before we decided this. If we use arbitrary number, if we use $50,000 of our reserves this is what the option 2 would be, and this is what the cost per household would be. We don't have, this was a rough draft to him. So he went on to say, I know it says the repairs are legally mandatory, but the board doesn't have to pretend to be neutral on it. Personally, I don't know how you all feel. I know we're all moving forward with this, but clearly we need to do this. And it says you can openly say the board strongly urges everyone to vote in favor because of how severe the consequences will be if it doesn't pass. And I think we stated that in the last letter, but it will be stated in the referendum as well. So this is an interesting comment he made. He said, second, you should add a line that says that the referendum will pass as long as at least, and I don't know if he used this number arbitrarily, 15 people return ballots and a simple majority will carry. So that's 50% plus 1, right? You might also want to add what will happen if none of the 3 options reaches 50% plus, option 3 was don't do it at all. Sorry. If none of the 3 options reaches 50 plus 1%, and he said, I suppose you'd have to have a runoff, which would be really crappy in our situation because of time purposes. He also said, Lynn, are you still on here? Chrissy? Oh, I wish she was, but so he also in the referendum, I put something into the effect that, it would be due two weeks from the date of the letter. And he said, the post office, this is interesting. The post office recently announced postmarks no longer reflect the receipt date, just the processing date, and most envelopes never get stamped with a dated postmark at all. So he said, don't use that. He said, give a specific date. Great. And then he said, and I'm not sure how we would do this and how we would validate. Maybe you would have to be registered in constant contact. I don't know. He said, finally, it would be legal for you to accept votes by email. You should consider allowing that because it would probably boost participation. Yeah, I'm not really sure how we would foster that. So that's the information pretty much I have on the referendum. Much more to follow. Once I'm finished with Adam, I'll forward to all of you for comments. And Dave, you have your hand up, Dave G.
Yeah, if we provide options, so option 1 and 2 being a yes and option 3 being a no, and somebody votes for option 2, how are we going to know if we have a majority of anything?
We have to count them.
I understand, but so some strange things. I understand, but like say I vote for option 1 and you vote for option 2, I'm just confused as to how we're going to know we have a majority, a path, a clear mandate on how we're going forward.
So
I understand option 2 is taken from the reserves, okay? But I
Right.
don't understand if we're putting multiple funding options in, how we're going to get a majority.
So I think both option 1 or 2 are yes, period. But option 2 says that they want to take money out of our reserves. We can't.
So I'm sorry. So say the vote is 40% no and 30% option 1 and 30% option 2. Then then the no wins.
No, because 1 and 2 still say yes. So that's 60% yes, 30% no. We just have to figure out, we might have to have a runoff on do we, and I'm trying to throw an option out there, Dave, because I honestly, you know why? You know what it is? I want to show them how little 50,000 is going to make a difference in, well, I'm saying 420 houses.
Personally, my thought is that we should go yes or no and then come back on the funding.
All right,
Good
well,
idea.
I mean, it's definitely a thought. Like I said, I will definitely, and we didn't just, we briefly discussed, I think, using some of the reserves or offering the reserves. And I do think there will be members that, you know, will say, well, what's in our reserves? You know, why can't we use our reserves? We don't have a
Hmm.
whole reserves.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and that's valid. I'm just saying, I think we're, I don't know how to put it, that we're causing, never mind. Anyway,
No, say it, that you're.
no, I think we're splitting things up, and by splitting things up, we're losing the mandate. That's,
Okay. Julia, you have your hand up, and Nancy has hers up, and Dave B has his up, but Julia, you've got a number 1 next to you.
Okay, so just real quick, in that letter that we recently sent to the membership, we've encouraged people to register to vote. We have a minority of members that are registered to vote, so they really need to understand they won't be able to vote on this referendum if they're not registered to vote. So we probably should do another push before you send the referendum out, reminding people, because I think I had less than 10 people contact me.
Right.
Sure. That they
So
were.
I know you haven't seen the referendum yet, but in the referendum, I do state that you must be a voter. They have we're going to give them 2 weeks to send it back. So if they get to you a week in advance before the vote, right, or before it's due, they can register. So it might get busy during that time.
Yeah, all right, we'll have to deal with that. We'll have
I
to
can send out an email blast, but if you haven't gotten anything after that letter went out.
I know. It's concerning because I don't know if the membership fully understands that they're not going to be able to vote unless they're registered to vote. I don't know how you cannot understand that, but I'm concerned because we don't have many people registered.
Madam President, point of order on this, because we're getting into conversations that's not on the agenda. This is specifically to do with a referendum. That package and that material is not in front of us, and we can't make an informed decision on that. So I would suggest that we table that conversation and talk about the bid package.
Right, until you get the referendum and then you see what I write. Okay, Julia? I think it'll be helpful to you. Nancy?
So my question is, on the referendum with the options, are you able to put some language in that no option that kind of reminds them of the consequences?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. I mean, the referendum is really sending home the urgency and the need. And I want to put language in there that says the board supports this. However, I need to ask every single one of you, am I writing a truth?
And that's why I think a simple yes, no would not be helpful, because the no needs to have additional information.
All of each one has
Yeah.
additional information. Yes. So as far as the language in the referendum, yeah, I think I can safely ask, is it a unanimous board support? Yes, yes. We're not voting. I'm just asking for if everybody's supporting.
I thought we weren't supposed to even be talking about this.
Yeah, we're talking about the referendum.
Well,
Yeah,
And
like,
that's part of the dam. That is part of what I'm working on in the dam.
We support moving forward to go to a referendum as required. Right. Agreed.
Okay,
yes.
okay. And I think you said yes, Chris, right? Okay. So I will get that to everybody once I've satisfied everything with Adam. The second part of this is the East Shore. And we did research every resource we could with Todd, Valerie Bells, Valerie Bells is the director of finance. And she's, oversees the Board of Finance. And there is nothing to compel the East Shore to contribute. However, talking to Tim, he seems to think that most are on board. Now, with that said, there's no way to be optimistic. So, in our funding proposal, we are going to add an additional percentage on there to account for the funding that is not going to be received from the East Shore. We don't want to wind up short. There's so many moving pieces. They are being informed on what's happening by Tim and Wolf. And hopefully, they understand the importance. The town does understand that the collective tax revenue base with the East Shore and the West Shore, the loss of that would be substantial to the town should something happen to the lake. And they are very clearly on board with that. And also what would happen, downstream. We're a Class BB dam, but the 8 Mile Wild and Scenic Watershed is federally protected, and we would certainly affect that. The ecological, the recreation, everything downstream. There's so much that we would impact, and the town is aware of that. So Tim and I are also going to meet. We were going to meet with the Tri-Board, which was the Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen, and the Board of Education, which really doesn't come into play, but budget meeting. But Valerie suggested we come to a budget workshop, which is also the same venue that Elquick presents, and we received a 50% reimbursement there, which I've already done that, and I've already that was the avenue for asking for money for the dam as well. Unfortunately, no one ever knew about that document, and all they asked for was $15,000 a year, except for the first couple of years. I'm asking for a substantial amount more. We'll see. They unfortunately do need a number, so I'm going to give them one. Just haven't decided yet. Dave, we got to talk about that. Okay. Any questions? I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces behind the scenes here. Dave.
Yeah, I have a question regarding, can we backtrack on the vote thing? Clarification as to who my understanding is that if your name is on the deed, you're eligible to vote. Is that correct? If you're registered?
If you're registered. So even if your name's on the deed, if you're not registered, you can't vote.
So there could be more than one vote per property then?
No. Yeah, I guess there could be. So the other thing that Adam said, and this one I'm going back to him on. I explained to him the situation about the open lots and the how they get 4 tags and the amenities, and then how there's lots attached to homes. And he suggested we tax like we normally tax. I got to go back to him on that one because, having lots attached to homes that they haven't consolidated yet, that could kill it right there, because you're going to get someone that's going to be taxed 5 or 6 times on, if you have a separate lot, different. But I do need to get back to him on that, because I want to make sure it's legal if we pick and choose, and picking and choosing is what I'm saying is we're trying to be fair. And fair is if your home is connected to one or more lots, it's literally adjoined. We're not going to tax you twice. If you own another lot on the other side of the lake or down the road, you should be taxed because it's for amenity purposes only. And I think we all agreed on that. So that's also part of, how we'll move forward with the referendum. So there's a lot to do between now and March. Any other questions? Oh, Chris, I'm sorry.
He's muted.
Hey, Laurie, my question's quick because I just can't remember. Why are the East Side folks exempt from contributing? Is that, could you just quickly explain it without getting into too much detail?
So, yeah, I mean, so the East Side, they're not voting at all. They're actually, we're going to ask them for the same flat rate fee everybody here is going to be charged. Are we going to get 100% participation? I know Tim's working on it, and he said
Okay.
everybody he's
So
talked
it's
to
just
so
because
far.
they're not part of PULA that we can't force them to contribute.
Correct. Pola owns the dam, or the part that's being repaired. So we're liable. We are liable.
Okay, so the East Side folks don't own the dam. The West Side folks, the PULA owns the dam,
Yes, that
and the
is
town doesn't own it.
So the north side of the dam with the spillways and the earthen dam, Pola owns. Under the road, the culverts, and the south side of the dam, the outfall, the town
What
owns.
I mean, this is way off base, but if we own the dam and the East Side folks benefit from having a dam, why can't we charge them a fee to maintain it?
That's basically the selling that Tim's doing. He's letting the East Shore people know, how much
I
work.
wonder what the lawyer would say about that. If we could charge them a fee, I mean, they're benefiting from us maintaining a dam
That we own.
that we own.
Yeah, I can ask.
Lori, another
Thanks.
question, another question related to votes. So some people own these as rental properties and people own them as estates and there's multiple. How does that all play out in the votes?
So, this is where I kind of mingle with Lynn a little bit. If it's an estate and no one's registered to vote, they don't get a vote. If it's a renter, the owner gets the referendum, not the renter, unless they're registered to vote. I don't think, I think the owner will get it. Whoever is taxed, and it won't be the renter, it'll be the owner. Did that answer, Dave?
I guess I'm sure there's a methodology that I just don't fully understand.
It is a little spaghetti. But I think it'll all, once Adam answers a few more questions, and then I can get with Lynn, I think we can get a better handle on how to move forward.
Okay.
But we'll definitely be talking about it. Julia, are you good, Dave?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Julia.
If you guys quickly reference your bylaws and or your charter, you see what members are and what registered voters are for PULA. So Lori, I have to take exception with what you just said, because I'm going to use Dave Burton's family as an example. He could have 4 people living, that is their residence, and all 4 people could be, they're not on the deed, but they're registered to vote with the town of East Haddam. This is their residence. Per our charter, they are members. So he could have 4 members in his household.
He's not going to get 4 tax bills from QDS. He's going to get,
but to vote on the referendum.
no, the referendum will go to the homeowner, the person on the deed.
Not the member. You're saying not the members.
It'll go to the person on the deed. That's who we tax. We're not taxing his son. We're taxing Dave.
No, but aren't the members of the association making the vote as to what's happening? And then you tax I mean, you have to give every member of the association a right to vote, Lori. And then, of course, you tax based on, you'll send it to the taxpayers, but
All right, so think about what you're saying. So members who know that they're not going to actually put forth one penny, and Dave, sorry, we're using your household. Dave's got 3 kids. He's got 4 and his wife, 5 members. Okay. We're going to ask 4 of them who are not on the deed and who are not responsible to pay whether they want this to go through or not. And what do you think their answer is going to be?
Lori, but they're still I'm struggling with, they are members of this association.
I'll have to ask Adam. I don't
Yeah,
know.
you're gonna have to clarify that one, because they
Because-
are members.
That's a tough one. Brian, sorry.
Well,
Dave.
Dave, well, I kind of simplify it. Lori, maybe Julie's got a point. Like if my wife and I we're members, we walk down to the pavilion and we get the paddles, we can both vote. I think it's the same manner. Yeah, I think she might have a
But you're
point.
both
Yeah,
on the, but you're both on the deed. Like when you get your tax
Right.
bill, it says you and your wife's name.
it does, but maybe that's just us, but I see. It's because both our names are on it, right? So we can both vote, right? Okay.
I mean, so Dave B's kids could go, yeah, Dad, you're paying. I mean,
But if
I
they're
don't
not on
know.
the
You know,
feed, they can't vote, you're saying, even at the pavilion meetings? I don't know. Okay.
Right,
Julie.
Dave B wanted to talk.
Again, just so we stay with the agenda items, can we table this? Because this is discussion about referendum and voting on that referendum and who can vote, and that discussion is not part of this agenda. So we should table this or move it until next time. First one. Second one, Lori, if you get a hold of Susan Beisowitz, there's a state bonding commission that may be able to help get East Haddam to do it. With funding, last year, I believe they gave out $6 million for 15 projects in the state that had to do with dams.
Was that
and
part of STEEP though? I think that was part of STEEP. It's
No,
not.
it's bonding. And then the other one is LoCIP, which is the local capital improvement program, because we just put in for seawall grant. For seawall repairs under LoCIP. So you want to look at that one as well. And again, if East Haddam, it should be done by the municipality, but they can make a phone call for both of those.
So Todd Gelston is supposed to be making these calls, but I can ask him specifically about the bonding through Susan Beisowitz. But
Yeah, you want it taken to the bond commission. And they have, I think Middletown got a big chunk of change for their dam. So,
but you just said the key thing. Middletown for their dam.
right.
Bashan Lake just got, I think, Dave, it was $1 million for their lake dam, but the state owns it.
Yes. So
problem
there
is
were
owning.
state projects as well as as well as municipal projects in this. And with East Haddam owning 50% interest in this, it might be an avenue. I would still make the call anyway. See if we
No,
get
I
the
definitely
response.
will. And so that it's same thing on Steep. I'm like, well, you own 50%. It's not just on our property. So I don't know where he's gotten with that, but I will ask you about, so it's LCIP.
No, it's LoCIP, local capital improvement program.
Okay.
Yep.
I just have to write that down because I put the acronym and, Okay. All right. So there are still a whole lot of moving pieces. Julia, that was a really good question. I got to ask Adam. I think Adam's the one to provide the answers on all of this. I don't know how that would work. I really don't. Brian, you're sending something. What are you sending?
I looked it up. Google LoCIP, the Connecticut website for you, Lori.
Okay. Thank you. Thank
Put in
you.
the chat. Yeah, if you want, if it preserves it here, you can copy it out.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That,
so there's another grant by the 8 Mile Wild and Scenic River, which I have to submit that. It's $15,000, but I'll take $15,000.
And then
Um,
the other one, Laurie, is who is the COG? Who's the Council of Governments for us? Because they may be an additional source of money too. So for me, it's CCOG, which is the Southeastern Council of Governments, but I don't know if it stretches as far.
I don't think so. Well, so we're right on the
Yeah, I know. See, I think
red
Colchester
water.
is part of CCOG, but I'm not sure if East Haddam is.
I don't think so.
Okay, so again, I would ask East Haddam if they've gone to the COG to ask funding sources.
Yeah, so again, I think this is where Todd needs information.
Mhm.
And he's very open to it, so which is great, but I think he's very busy learning his new role. And again, if need be, if I'm expecting that the workshop, the budget workshop so we'll go to the one for the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen. I would suspect, Dave, if I don't have answers from them yet, I'll present all of this there and then as well. Any other comments? Like I said, there's so much going on, and I mean, Dave made his short and sweet, but there's just a lot. But big undertaking for sure. If there's any other questions or anything you think of, by all means, email, ask. Is everybody good with that for now? Okay. I just have one other quick agenda item. I think it's quick. Should be quick. The website. So I did. Oh, Dave, I'm sorry.
Are we voting? Because this is an action item. It says vote. So are we voting on the bid packet?
Oh, the bid package. Yes.
So motion on the bid packet.
I'm sorry. Yes. Dave, this is the meeting where we opted to vote on the bid package. I know it's not in its complete form yet. Is that correct?
Well, grammatically, there are a few issues,
Yes.
and technically, we've incorporated some of the comments from board members and asked the engineer to cover those. So to answer your question, no, it's not. It's not complete, but the intent is clear.
Okay, and I agree with that. Julia and I have some grammatical error.
Yeah,
Correction.
Julia was brutal.
Well, you didn't see mine, and so I told her. I said, "Well, we'll compare, and then I'm sorry, I haven't been able to do that yet." But what I wanted to offer, Dave, is if Carl sends it to us in the Word format, Julia and I could make those changes. We don't need him to do that.
Correct. Okay.
I mean, most of my one or two of mine might be a little questioning on stuff that might have already gotten answered. I have to go back and look at it. I just haven't had time. But essentially, if everybody's read the bid package, and you agree with it.
Yeah, so the motion is that we, as outlined, the motion is that we go forward with what we proposed. And then we need someone to second it, and then we need a vote on it.
So can I just make a suggestion on the amendment to the motion is the motion with the changes that have been discussed between board members, which are grammatical, but not context or content critical.
Is there a second? Is there a second on that amended motion?
I'll second, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. So the motion is on the floor Do we accept the bid package with the grammatical, non-content changes?
Aye.
Julia has a
In
question.
favor? Oh, Julia, you have discussion?
Real quick, do we need to incorporate Dave Burton's question from earlier in the discussion about the process of, does it have to be open? I know Dave G said we're following paragraph 106 or something, but and Dave Burton's concern was, does it need to be open to other people who may not have seen the bid? Do we need to incorporate that?
All right, so regardless, that's not a part of this vote. That's a separate issue.
Isn't that context? Isn't that context of the bid package?
No, because the only
Okay.
difference would be we'd post it in the local newspaper. And they would get the same bid package. So it's the same thing. Okay, so all in favor or any other discussion? All right, all in favor? Who am I missing? There's one of us I can't see.
Jeff Flynn, you can't see Jeff Flynn.
Can't see Jeff. Jeff, are you in favor?
10-4.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, I'm going to say all opposed. Motion carries. Excellent. Thank you for bringing that back in, Dave B. Okay, I just want to make a quickie on the website. So as we talked last time, I did get with my daughter quickly and I wanted to get the dam stuff on the website. But moving forward, Craig, I know you said you would get in touch with Melanie. Of course, I don't know if you have her information.
I don't. She was out of country when we had that conversation.
Yeah, probably. But you happen to live in the same town.
Oh,
Yeah. So,
that's
I
easy.
think, yeah. So I had a talk with her and, you know, I said the same thing to her. I go, you know, even in like your particular area of town, which
She's
is
not one
kind
of my. She doesn't live in my neighborhood, does she?
well, I think I told you where she used to live, but she moved now. She's in a condo, but anyway, regardless.
Connect me with her. Yes, absolutely.
So I will provide you with her number, her phone number, and I let her know. I said you have to like sit down with him because when she sat down with, it's a lot, Craig. It's a lot.
Okay.
And so she'll give you logons for WordPress and for Bluehost, I think it is.
Yeah.
And then show you. So any of the main construction, she said she'll still do, but like uploading things and
Yep.
putting things on there. I said,
Yeah.
whatever, she'll be your go-to. And then till we get fully up to speed. And then maybe someday when you're really comfortable, you could take all what she's doing over because she even said to me, Mom, she goes, nope, I'm just going to do that part. I'm like, okay. But I wanted to get the damn stuff on there because it said it was on there.
Okay. Yeah,
But,
let's just connect me with her, and then I have to connect with you because I think you're the administrator of the Google stuff because I got a new computer and it's not on my computer. So I
Okay.
need access to all that stuff. So we could talk offline about that.
Okay, perfect. So I'll give you Melanie's number,
Perfect.
and I think her personal email. So in case she sees your number and goes, oh, that's a weird one. Well, you know, when you don't know somebody's number now, that it sends you right to voicemail. My phone does anyway, sends you to voicemail, and you have to say who you are if you're not in my contacts. So
Just email me and email her on the copy, and then I'll take it over from there, and I'll just get her number from her.
perfect. All right, so that sounds like a plan, and then we can get the website. She still has to put the archival financial stuff on there. So maybe we can work with her to do that. Lisa's got stuff she's got to put on there, which she wants to kind of learn how to do that so she could just put them on there. And
The more hands you have in the pot, the stickier it gets.
well, I know. So that's why I said, get with Mel, have her teach you, And then you guys decide. I mean, there's, you know, our lake pictures that we want on there. I think one or two of them are, but they're,
Sure.
you know, just things like that.
I'll
And-
get with her. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So, I think that's all I got. And, I think it's 4 minutes to 9.
Motion to adjourn.
Somebody seconding it?
Come, Craig always says
Second.
that.
All right, everybody. I hope everybody had great holidays. Stay good and healthy. And I will talk to you all soon. I have
Thanks, everybody.
offlines with a lot of you, so we will be talking.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you. Thank
Bye,
you.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.